Today we're going to talk about twin flame separation. I want to talk about how to end it because no one seems to talk about that. Everyone just says, hey, look at me. I'm sitting next to this beautiful person and we're twin flames and we're together and we're in union. But no one ever talks about how to actually get into union. And they don't talk about what the separation was like for both of them. So I want to talk about that with you because I'm basically a master at separation. Not really. I mean, that makes it sound terrible, but I've been on this journey for a really long time. And I've had a lot of unions and a lot of separations with my twin flames. So I just want to talk that out for a second. More importantly, I want to talk about how to get into union with your twin flame. If you're new here, hi, this is Unification Inside. And I've been on the twin flame journey for like almost 3 decades. Most of it I did not have the term twin flame, so it's been pretty interesting to find other people who've had the similar experience as me. And like you, I've had to wade through all the garbage online. All the people who talk about it and who aren't actually twin flames. Yep, I've had to go through all that too. So part of the reason I started this channel is so that I could talk about my experience and how different it is versus the stuff being peddled online. So anyway, I really want to paint a picture, and I'll just cut to the chase right here in the beginning, of twin flame union is not what you think it is. It's not what's being peddled online, that's for sure. It's definitely more layered. It's more of layers of an onion is the way I look at it. You're going to have a lot of little mini unions or reunions with your twin flame before you have any sort of full union. The other thing I've found is so another thing that's kind of hinted at but not really talked about is coming into inner union. You have to be inner union with yourself. So everyone says, oh, you got to heal yourself and love yourself and all of that. But then again, no one ever really talks about like, okay, where do you start? What do you do? How do I start healing my twin flame chaser energy or my runner energy? So that's something that we need to talk about. I've definitely done a lot of that. But what I'll say is that you actually have all the answers inside of you, and you don't really need a gatekeeper. You don't need someone to tell you what to do because you actually have that pre-installed like software inside of you. So what you really want to do if you want to get into twin flame union, especially if you want to get into union with yourself, is just keep following these little seeds. Follow these little videos of people who you resonate with. You'll know if you're bouncing off a video really quickly or a blog, you know that it's just the energy's not right for you. That's not what you need. You'll find the proper healer for you if you need a healer. We don't actually need to hire anybody to help us. We can just heal ourselves. It just might be a shortcut if you do hire somebody. Because they can point out things you're not seeing within yourself. It might be harder to find a traditional therapist to talk about this stuff with. I definitely was never drawn to traditional therapy, even though I love self-help stuff and I've always been trying to heal myself. I've always looked at psychology to try to figure out what was wrong with me. I always thought something was wrong with me, that I couldn't get over this person. But it's a soul connection, and I always knew that, and I didn't know how I would translate that to a therapist. Like no one they're not really talking about soulmates and energy and reading people's minds and telepathy. Like, you sound like a crazy person. But it's all true anyway, regardless of how it sounds. It's been my experience. So I think the quickest way to explain how to navigate this situation and how to really get into inner union, but more importantly, how to get into some sort of union with your twin. To me, the best way to explain it is to think about it like a game of tug of war. So both of you are holding an end of a rope, and you're playing this game tug of war. And the only way you're going to get into twin flame union at all and end your separation is to let go of your side of the rope. That's what it's going to take. Honestly, that's like the easiest way to explain it, is you're letting go of your end of the rope. Because if you're blocking them on social media or if you're stalking them on social media or any of that stuff, that's still this energetic tug of war. And you really have to figure out how to get over that and how to drop your end of the rope. It feels like giving up. It feels like giving in. It can feel like a lot of different things. And journaling your way through it is really going to help. I definitely recommend using a journal, and I have another video on different tools that I found invaluable in my twin flame journey, and other tips on what to avoid on your twin flame journey. So I'll link to that at the end and also up in the side. But really think about it as a game of tug of war. Okay, so let's talk about, how did I get there? How did I have all these mini reunions without even knowing what I was doing? I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have all these videos that you guys have. I didn't have anything when I started my journey. There's no internet, there was no Facebook, there was no TikTok. None of that stuff existed for me. So I had to just follow my own inner guidance. I had to do the best that I could with what I was given in life, which, if you're a star seed or a twin flame or a advanced soul, you probably had a rough childhood. Well, I mean, most people do, right? That's why therapy is a thing. But you know, we might be also hiding out and not making a lot of money, and just all kinds of different life barriers to success. There's a lot of that going on, especially like blueprinters. We like to hide out. So I had to do all this alone, but what I found is that, I just kept going. You know, I didn't know that I think it's in some ways healthier for me because I didn't ever expect a reunion. I'd never expected union. I think that a lot of people talking about twin flame union don't know what the hell they're talking about. Most of them aren't even twin flames. And they definitely haven't gone through like long separations, or they still have separations to come and they don't even know it. So it's tough because it's, in a lot of ways, it was good for me that I didn't have that I didn't have that expectation that you all have of like what they're painting online. What a lot of people are painting online as union is just being in a physical 3D relationship with this person. I personally don't think that is necessarily something to look up to. I don't think that it's the end all be all that it sounds like it is. I just know way too many married people, and I have another video about that. But, you know, really, it's more about an energetic union is what I found. I found I had to come in union with myself. Definitely had to do that. I've definitely had to be in union with my twin. And so let's talk about a couple of the times that I did it. And really, I know it may sound like I'm kind of rambly, but I promise I have a point to this. So what I've found in my journey is that I definitely gave up right away. I had a little chaser energy only in the beginning when we broke up because we became friends. So we had all the same friends, and it was hard. It was hard for me to see him with other people, and I always knew he was my person. I just always knew that he was, and I knew he was the only one I wanted to work through all of life's garbage with. But, you know, he didn't choose me, so I moved on the best I could. I dated, I did all the things. I just, whatever, I was young. I thought, oh, I'll find somebody else. And the other thing I always knew is I was like, well, I'll see him in the next life and we'll try again. I knew that we had a divine connection. I just didn't have the terminology for it. I didn't have anyone else to point it out or talk to about it. So I did know right away what he triggered in me by breaking up with me, and it wasn't anything like specific that he did on purpose or anything like that. It's just the way it went down was really bad for me based on other things I'd been through in life. And so what I did was I immediately started to heal that trigger, that first big trigger. I knew it was a big trigger. I knew exactly what it was, and I just did the best I could tackling it. The chaser energy for me, like I said, was that I wished that I could have worked through it with him. I tried to talk to him about it, and he always held space for me, but never validated anything, never talked about his side or what he thought. And a lot of that was because he was in a relationship, so it wasn't appropriate. But I always wanted to work things out with him. I just always knew he was my guy, my person. So, but anyway, so what happened was, we parted ways, as you do in life. You move and things change, and I didn't know if I'd see him again, but I always wondered. I always wondered, like, that little nugget was always there in me. I always wondered if we were going to see each other again. And so what happened was, yep, sure enough, because we're twin flames, the universe orchestrated us seeing each other again. We've seen each other again over these decades several times. Only one time was of our choice, of our orchestration. And that was the best union we've had, actually. So this is, again, kind of my point. I want to talk it out. That union's not always just this 3D romantic burst of Hollywood love of like, oh, I love you too. Let's move in together. That is not what union is supposed to be, in my opinion. It's definitely not been my experience. What my favorite union actually that we've had, so we've seen each other at friends' weddings and things like that. So those are all like mini little reunions. I look at them all as a way that the universe was testing the waters to see how much have we healed, how much are we still triggering each other. And it's not like we've ever done anything really toxic towards each other, like you hear online. He was never a narcissist, none of that nonsense. Honestly, what stood out was he always held space for me. I felt crazy. I felt like an emotional wreck, and he always held space for me. He just never gave me what I wanted out of him. But that's not his fault, So anyway, we run into each other at some weddings and some other reasons to run into each other. We don't even live in the same state. So it did stick out. I was like, oh man, like I thought I could move on. I thought I was over this person, blah, blah, blah. But the universe has other plans. And when it's not up to us. And I know he felt the same way, like I'm sure that I feel like a bad penny to him, that he's like, ugh, why is this person still in my life? He actually, the last time I saw him, he said something to that effect. And I actually laughed because I've healed so much that I didn't take it personally. And I kind of just was, I sort of leaned into it. And I was like, well, that can't be right. He said something to the effect of that he's seen me more than other people from college. And I was like, well, that can't be right. And my point was, we haven't even tried, so that's up to him. That's on him that's the case. So anyway, my favorite union was actually that we worked for each other. So he needed something done that only I could do, and I needed something done that only he could do. I mean, talk about a union. To me, that's like the best union. Like, to be able to work for each other and like have this alternate relationship. Like, at the time I thought, oh, how magical, what a great end to our story. I honestly did think it was an end to our story at that time. Lo and behold, as per usual, the divine has other plans for us, and it wasn't the end of our story. We saw each other again a couple years later. Then I got the download about being a twin flame, and now my entire perspective on everything has shifted again. But I loved that union. That was a great union, and people aren't talking about these kinds of things. I really feel like it would help if more people were talking about this sort of union. It's not just this romantic 3D relationship playing house sort of thing. I think that's actually really low level and low vibe. And honestly, we have so much stuff to do, so much work to do as twin flames, that it's hard to pay bills and build a career and have kids and do all that while being a twin flame. It's so hard. I just feel like that is just, that's rough. That's a lot to ask. My parents certainly didn't have to clear an ancestral trauma. They're not cleaning out anybody's old templates. They're not doing any of that stuff. They're not cleaning out even their own childhood trauma. So for them, for a married couple with kids to have to do all this extra heavy lifting that twin flames have to do, I just find it really, really, really naive to think that being in a 3D relationship, sitting side by side in love, in a marriage or something like that, I just feel like that's missing the whole point. It's not realistic and it's not to say that it won't ever happen, but at this point in my life, in my journey, that would be the gravy on top. That would be the added. I don't even know if I even really necessarily want that anymore. Yes, the pool is still there. I definitely, but it's mostly because I haven't found anybody else. I've been looking. I just haven't been able to find anybody else. So I think that there's a divine purpose to that. I'll put a pin in that one for some other day. But, really rethink what you think union is, and rethink what all the blogs are talking about. And I just don't think that, anyway, I'll leave it at that. It's layers of an onion, for sure. That definitely has been my experience, is there's layers of union, and layers of separation. So even those people that are sitting there side by side, especially if they're newer on the journey, there's going to be separations. There's going to be moments where they need to go within and clean up some more stuff, and they might do it still in a relationship with their person, and they might not. They might need a break for a while, and then they might get back together. But I don't think an actual traditional relationship is necessarily the end-all be-all union that people are talking about. I look at it more as a reunion and a touch and go kind of situation. So let me give you another positive thing to think about, of a different framework of what a union could be, and what it does to the twin flames. So it's not all triggering. I think that's another misconception or myth out there, that everything your twin flame does triggers you. I also haven't found that to be the case, honestly. They don't always trigger me. Sometimes all it is that just being in their energy, because we share an energy, we share divine energy. That's what we do. We are energetic matches. We are energetic twins. So what happens is sometimes we get each other on the right path. Like this one time I saw him, it was when we were in our best union, where we were working for each other. To me, that's still a 3D union. We worked for each other for 2 years, and we met in person to talk about the project or whatever. And honestly, that year I made more money in my business than ever. Like, that was the best year I'd ever had. Everything was easy and just flowed. People flowed to me. Everybody wanted, like, people who were already customers wanted to give me more money than normal. Everything was just easier, and it had nothing to do with anything he actually did. I think it was just an energetic boost that I got by seeing him, and that the universe was rewarding us for being in a form of union. That's the way I look at it now. Now that I look back, I see it that way. Another time I saw him in person, and I dumped somebody I was dating that I'd been trying to move on from for a while. So, I didn't even tell him about this until years later. It wasn't anything specific he said or did. I didn't dump my boyfriend because I had hope of my twin being with me. It was none of that. It was a natural occurrence of me getting into alignment of where I needed to be going in my life, and knowing that I wasn't living up to my potential. So it was, again, I look at it like an energetic boost, sort of like when you're playing a video game and you walk through a coin or something and you get extra powers. I feel like that's kind of what our little mini unions have been. It's been like a little level up. So anyway, I hope this helps you think about different ways to look at the twin flame journey, different ways to look at what union is or can be. It doesn't have to be a 3D relationship. And I have not found that the 3D relationship to be part of it for me yet. I'm not saying no, that it won't ever happen. But I'm saying that you can become so whole within yourself, an inner union, which is why I've named this YouTube channel what I have. You become so whole that you don't even worry about it anymore. It's not even, it's not the main focus anymore. So I don't love that everyone online is just only talking about twin flame union as in a relationship. I just find that very small thinking, and I don't think that you have to, anyway, I've said what I need to say about that. Either you get my point or you don't. But if you want to end your separation in any way and trigger one of these mini unions, the quickest and easiest thing you can do is to drop your end of that tug-of-war rope. That's what ending the chaser dynamic is. That's what ending the runner dynamic is. When they're talking about runner, chaser, and that energy, they're talking about this tug-of-war. It's us versus them. All that has to go. All of it. It's not us versus them. It's us. We are one energy. We share the energy. That person feels my energy and my moods, and I feel theirs. We are the same vibration is what twin flames are. And yeah, so if you're down in the dumps and negative Nelly, all of that, that's going to affect them, and that's going to affect the union. If you're spitting, you know, if you're sending them toxic emails or even thinking it and just saying, oh, they're such a jerk or they're a narcissist or any of that nonsense, all of that has to go, because they're not that. They're not any of those things. And because you share a vibration, if you're twin flames, anything you think like that, then you're making them think it about themselves. Or if you go down a rabbit hole and you're like, oh, I'm so pathetic, I'm such a loser, oh, I'm fat, ugly, whatever, you're actually planting those seeds inside of them, because you are one vibration. You are one soul vibration. And so you really want to watch what you're sending out. Like, even if you think union's never going to happen, you're sending that out into the universe, and you're sending that out to your twin flame as one of these templates. So just be careful with that kind of stuff. Just really watch your thoughts, journal it, get it out that way. Don't send it to them in the 3D. But I will say that if you ever do have a chance to tell them what effect they've had on you in person, I think that's really good, and I'm glad I've had a few opportunities in my life to do that over the years as I've matured. So anyway, hope this helps you rethink what union is, and definitely keep in mind the tug of war metaphor. And I definitely want to hear down below in the comments if that helped you, because that's been the easiest way for me to think about it, because realizing that the more you're tugging in one direction or the other, the more you're keeping union from happening. So you got to drop your end of the rope, and then the universe is automatically going to bring you back together when it's time and when you've healed some stuff, so that you can check in and see how far you've grown and how far you've gone. So anyway, if you've had one of those happen, I definitely want to hear that below in the comments. And I'll link to the video I was talking about for you to watch next right here at the end. Okay, bye.